Sell the belief and you'll never need to sell your offer. Why do you need prospects to have the right belief before jumping on a call with you? Yesterday I was on a group call and one of the members of the incubator brought up the fact that her main bottleneck is the fact that she hasn't been closing deals, right? Now, she's targeting local businesses, landscapers to be exact. Her cost per lead, her cost per book call as low as it can get, right? And I had two options. I had the option of, choosing path one, which could have been to try to solve our problem, which would have been, let's do more sales call reviews, let's try to do more sales coaching, objection handling, follow up, let's just increase more of that or improve. But recently I've tried to stop focusing on paths that only deliver incremental gains, increase and improvement in the outputs of the system, right? So for me, I'm not gonna create this training around, oh, let's get you doing more sales call, here's how you should objection handle. I'm gonna let the team solve that, right? What I wanna focus with this training is creating a solution that is 10x bigger, that has infinitely more leverage than becoming better at one-to-one selling, right? In business, you guys have to understand that. If you wanna solve a problem, if you wanna achieve growth, the path that you choose is gonna dictate the outcome more than how hard you work at the thing. Right? The best closers, they're gonna maybe make 50K a month, and that's if they're the best of the best, right? But the best business builders can make $50,000 a second. And the reason to that is because instead of focusing on a path that produces incremental improvements, we think more so in let's get 10x the output. And when you ask yourself, what is the path that gets me 10x the results? You actually end up deleting a lot of the paths because not many solutions can get you a 10x output. This, in the current issue, which is not being able to close, is the one solution that delivers 10x the results, right? And what is it? Well, let's get prospects having the right belief before they ever need to jump on a sales call with you. Because if someone has a problem, right, and it's really painful, and they're offered a solution, did they really need to also be sold on the solution? Not really, right? The people who spend the most amount of money don't need to be sold. They want to spend the money. So why is it that in this case, in a niche where their biggest bottleneck is the fact that they don't have predictability in getting jobs and getting leads, attention, and appointments and jobs, how is it that they're jumping on a call with Janae and she's showing them a system that can help them get more control, right? To be able to get jobs whenever they want, and they're still not wanting to buy? It doesn't make sense, right? So what I ended up realizing is that the problem could be the sales skills, and that needs to be improved for sure. But I think bigger problem is the fact that these landscapers aren't aware of the problem in the first place. And even worse, not only are they not aware of the problem or that it is a problem to rely solely on referrals, but they most likely don't have a desired state. Let me repeat this. They don't actually have a gap to bridge. And do you know how crazy it is to try to sell someone a system, a growth solution, a growth infrastructure, a product, a service that bridges a gap that is non-existent? It's like trying to sell, hey, this program is going to get you to $1 million a year to someone who doesn't want money, to a communist. You could spend all day long trying to be the best closers, but you're never going to be able to get them to buy the thing because they don't have a gap to be bridged. So you're wasting your time focusing on optimizing sales instead of learning to master the art of creating gaps within people's mind. How good you become at creating this gap within prospects' minds? Well, in my opinion, it is the most important skill that anyone can acquire. It's this idea of creating desire in a prospect's mind before they ever need to jump on a sales call, right? So I think I would probably need to do this a little bit more frequently and do this in many niches. So this training today is not going to be super long. I'm going to try to really apply it for this current situation on how I would focus on creating the gap for landscapers, right? It's going to apply for any business that relies heavily on referrals. So if you're in a local niche and that also depend on referrals, then you can use this to essentially pre-sell and create the belief before prospects jump on a sales call, right? So let's get straight into it. Now, here's how we solve it. And this is the kind of thought exercise that I go through every time I'm about to launch an offer. First one is I want to audit the niche's main bottleneck. It has to be an obstacle that the prospect in this niche is aware of, right? It cannot be something that only I am aware of or that you are aware of, right? It has to be something a problem that all of them know, right? You cannot start a solution, a business on something that is unknown. The only way that works is if you raise capital and you go and build technology businesses and you build something and you pull the market to you. But right now, since we're starting solutions, service-based businesses, we're starting from a pain, right? And in this case, the landscapers that she's been jumping on a call with, they're all aware that the problem is lack of predictability of jobs, right? They don't have consistency. They're like waking up every day being like, oh, like when am I going to get a job? Like that type of issue, right? Now, what's creating the problem? Well, the problem is the fact that they're relying solely on referrals. So relying on referrals create this lack of predictability. Okay, so what is the pain? What is the outcome? What is the cost? Okay, it's important. Most people are like, hey, stop relying on referrals. But yeah, okay, cool. So what? Like, that doesn't mean anything. You have to talk to the outcome of that issue or the outcome of that thing. Referrals are not bad. Not having predictability is really bad. But having referrals is actually a great sign for a business. So you can actually go to a market and say, oh, stop relying on referrals, and sell them on stop relying on referrals. No, the only way they would stop relying on referrals is if it creates a bad outcome. In this case, it is, because they don't have consistency, right? They don't have control whatsoever, right? So once we've done that, what you want to do is you actually want to come here and put it on this side here, which is their current situation. So lack of predictability in getting jobs because of referrals. Now, what is the consequence, or how do they feel? Well, lack of control, right? Fear of the unknown. Lack of control makes you be afraid because you're like, how am I going to put food on the table, right? And then the other one is like inconsistent income. It's really bad. You need to communicate this state back to them. You need to wake them up. Hey, what are you doing relying on referrals all your life? Are you crazy? You have no control. You wake up fearing every day on how you're going to put food on the table, and your income is inconsistent. Some months you might make 10K a month. Sometimes you might even make 20K a month. Wow, 30K a month. And then the other month you're making 5K a month. This is really bad, right? And if you want, you can still go on and on about the consequences of this here, because the consequences of this, by the way, guys, is even worse. Because imagine being someone who has a family and you have no way to have security, right? Lack of control, inconsistent outcome means there's no security whatsoever, right? And as we all know, if you have no security in your income, well, forget about having a great relationships at home. Forget about that, because that's gone out the window, right? The number one reason of most people who get divorced is financial, right? So I want you guys to start realizing that the reason why we have to actually care about these growth companies that we're building is that if we do not help these humans get better at making money, they can't live life. There is no living whatsoever, right? And this is the stuff that you guys need to remind your prospects. And don't spend time saying, oh, this is a lead gen system. Who cares? Nobody cares about that, right? You need to first call out their current situation. And this is how you do it, okay? Once you're done, then you want to go into design the solution, right? And the solution, this you can do before you actually, this would probably have already been done, like Janae did it in this case. Now, Janae, since you're going to be watching this video, this is how I would normally change things up. Here you talk about lead gen, appointments, and labor optimization, but knowing that, now, I don't have much context on this, but for me, I would keep labor optimization as an upsell or like a retention mechanism, like you can sell it down the line, right? But what you want to focus on is, in my opinion, we need to get these guys to understand that like you need at least 100+ people to learn about you daily, okay? Can we have a system that generates you like 100 to 1,000 people to learn about you every day, okay? And then from that level of attention is, can we get you 10 people interested, 10 leads a day, right? Preferably 10 qualified leads a day. Can we give you that system, okay? And then the last part is, once you have enough attention, once you have people's information that raise their hand and that want your solution, is can we generate 1 to 2 appointments a day and give you 1 new client every 2 days, right? How could this change your life, right? So the system needs to solve this: attention, lead flow, and conversion, right? The next step is we want to have some proof for each pillar. So as an example, here I see that you have these reels. As an example, like 3,000. This would be proof for what? For the attention. So the attention would be content plus ads. This would be the main kind of like mechanisms for the attention piece. Lead gen system could be a funnel plus maybe some like a community. This is just an example, by the way, so you don't have to focus too much on this. So here you would have the proof, which is the reels and the ads. Then here you would have the like a funnel, like an actual image. If you guys ever look at how I built mine, for every single piece of mechanism, I like to have a picture. By the way, look at how I did it. I do the same thing for our own offers. I create the gap first, okay? But let me show you what I mean by this. So I like to have proof for everything. So if I'm saying lead flow, I want to show a little image around lead flow. If I'm going to showcase proof on appointments, I want to showcase some example of appointments, right? And appointments and deals flow, whatever, right? So I like to have an image, something visual, because when you can showcase the visual for each mechanism, they tend to believe in and trust it more. Now, for the conversion part, you can have these appointments, this here, these screenshots, and have them here, right? So this would be like AI setter, maybe like an actual like follow-up system, and then like sales playbook, right? Because you're probably not going to close for them. You're not going to close the jobs for them, but it would be good if you searched for the right playbooks to get them to have a high conversion rate, okay? Now that we know what we're going to sell them or the solution that we've built, then we actually want to go into finding and presenting the belief, right? So once you understand the bottleneck and found the solution that will help your market achieve their desired outcome, we now need to find the belief that they need to have in order to feel like they can't move forward or achieve their goals without it. This part is called making your solution indispensable by creating the right belief. Here's how I went about finding and communicating the right belief for this landscaping niche, right? This can be used for any niche that relies on referrals, like I said. So first, creating a gap between the 1% and landscapers and 99% landscapers. So the way that I want to do this is I want to say that, hey, this is where 99% of landscaping businesses live, right? They're making $500K a year or less, and there is that 1%. And this, by the way, you can just be proven by data. You can ask ChatGPT. Landscaping businesses, some of them, doing $1 million. I'm sure there's landscaping businesses doing over $10 million. You have to remember is that this alone is not enough to get a business to 8 figures, but it might be enough to get it to $1 million a year, okay? Now, just like we described their current situation, it is also important to describe what the 1% is feeling. Now, before you describe the system, you have to describe what the 1% feels like, okay? First of all is they do not rely on referrals as their main acquisition system. Never. Or channel. Maybe, I don't know if they even understand what channel means. It might be source, right? That is important. And by not relying on it, they get what? They get full control on their business, right? They never fear because revenue is consistent month after month, right? They're excited about running the business, right? And they're not slaves to their business, okay? And then the last thing is you can talk about profit margin. They make infinitely more profits because the way that they structure their front end and their offers and whatever makes it so that like they have freedom, they have consistency, and they're living the life, right? Now, once you've explained this and kind of like clarified their current situation and their desired situation, then you want to say, do you want to know how they do it? Well, it's really simple. They have a system that generates them 100 to 1,000 plus reach. They are able to reach thousands of people daily without having to do anything. And they do it how? Content and ads. Once they have that level of traffic and that level of attention, they have a lead gen system or a lead system that converts that attention into qualified, engaged and interested prospects. And then once they have a system that turns that attention into qualified leads, then they also have a third system that converts those leads into appointments on their calendar. And all they have to do is take the appointment and say, hey, when is the job? What's the money? How do they pay, right? And you have to go back to explaining this. If your desired situation is to stop being a slave to your landscaping business and having to wake up living in fear, having no control about your business, one system can change everything for you. And that system is X, so you can have a name for it, is this growth infrastructure that we implement into companies. And imagine having this one system that can take you from your current situation to being part of the 1%, and you don't even have to do anything other than pay us to implement it in your business. Who wouldn't want that? Who likes this? Nobody likes this. Everybody wants this. And everybody who wants this, if they have money, they're going to inevitably buy this, okay? So we start by waking them up, and then we remind them of what's possible. We create a vision for them, and then we show them how we bridge that gap. And then we go on to making the offer and making the CTA, right? So it would be something like this. If you believe that sticking to doing things the old way, relying on referrals, will keep you from being able to experience the freedom which comes from having a consistent flow of jobs and income, and ready to finally experience what it feels like to be part of the top 1% of your industry who earns most of the revenue, by the way, then please book a call with me using this link. I'll briefly explain the process around implementing the system. I'll give you the price, and if it's something you feel ready to move ahead with, we'll get started right away. Now, our goal is to work with 5 landscaping businesses per month. Therefore, we don't aim to be the cheapest. Haha, check this out. We're anchoring that we're not the cheapest. Avoid making people feel like they're getting a deal by jumping on a sales call with you. Please, please, please stop that, okay? Nobody wants to work with the cheapest person. People want to work with the best, right? And if it's the best, I don't mind spending a lot of money to get the best, because at least the probability of achieving the outcome is high. So it's important. This script is important. Again, you're framing, you're anchoring people, okay? Because most people will say, oh, it's $1,000 to work with us and it's really cheap. And then by the time they get on a call, they've been anchored for $1,000, but then you tell them, oh, it's $7,000. Like, what? Who's gonna go from 1,000 to spending 7K? No one, right? So anyway, our goal is to work with 5 landscaping businesses per month. Therefore, we don't aim to be the cheapest so we can serve the most amount of clients. We aim to offer the best service, and that forces us to serve less clients but give them the best chances at getting the results they pay for. You've probably already been burned working with incompetent and cheap agencies who waste your time and money by only focusing on generating new leads that never turn into high-paying jobs. Our mission is to bridge the whole gap and solve your problems for good. If that's what you want, then please schedule your call, okay? Anyone who schedules a call with you after watching this entire breakdown, I mean, if they don't buy, you should own their home, right? Because they're wasting your time. You literally just spent the time walking them through, right? Here's your current situation. Here's your desired situation. Here's the thing that makes it inevitable for you not to be part of the top 1%, right? And then maybe below it, you have some proof, blah, 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 right? And you're like, hey, if you believe in what I just covered and you want to bridge the gap, book a call. If you do not believe in what I've just covered, do not book a call, okay? That's literally, we're trying to make it clear. It's not, oh, book a call so that we can learn about your business. No, 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 no. Here is what we specialize in. Here's the gap that we specialize in bridging. If you want to bridge it and you're tired of being here and you want to be here and you want this system implemented into your business, book a call. By the way, we limit how many people we work with every month because we don't care about volume. We care about inevitably bridging the gap for you, right? So it's not cheap, because we work with less people. Anchor that your guys are premium, okay? Also anchor the fact that they've already been burned, so that when they jump on a call, they're not like, oh, I've already been burned. Yeah, I said that. I said that in the video. I already knew that you're gonna tell me that. So I already called it out for you, right? So don't bring me your past trauma. Let's start anew. Let's do this the right way, right? And I showed you that we're gonna do A, B, C. Bridge the whole gap. Here's $5,000, $10,000 it costs for us to work together. Do you have the money or not? And never ever be sold on the idea that these guys do not have money. That's bullshit. How many landscapers take the bus to go to work? I don't think so. How much money do you think their cars cost? Do they not pay rent? How much do their home cost, right? Have they not gone on vacation? Some people truly might have never gone on vacation, but an iPhone costs $1,000, right? I paid $2,000 for this new iPhone. What is it going to do for me? Nothing. I can still text on the old phone, but I swear you want to create a desire for your service. If you solve that, you're good to go, okay? Let me know if this training makes sense, guys. But I want you guys that if you guys are struggling to sell, do this exercise, please. And stop focusing so much on like, hey, you need this lead gen system, you need this. No, 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 no. That's irrelevant. That's commodities. Nobody cares about that. He or she who clearly creates a gap in the prospect's minds the best wins everything. Okay? Love y'all. Bye-bye.